favela. Vinha aqui na favela pra sentar no grau, pra sentar no grau, pra sentar no grau. Vinha aqui na favela.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Brad within Techbuds-Solutions, and on this channel we talk everything OTC. So what I mean by that is we talk everything related to OTC stocks. And so the topic that I wanted to talk about tonight is dilution. And what does dilution mean? Why does it pertain to you? Why does it matter when you're trading down in these low cap or micro cap stocks? And how does it affect my style of trading personally, and how it may affect your style of trading based on, you know, what you see value in, and so on and so forth. And so what I mean by dilution is basically the share structure of a company and how that may affect you know, how a stock moves when you're trading down here in OTCs. And so a prime example of this, and I know that I might get a little bit of grief from some of the guys that are trading this particular stock, but I want to talk about this because this is just a perfect example of an extremely diluted stock. Okay, so this is a ticker symbol BVTK, Techbuds-Solutions. Now they do have a lot of good things going for them, and you know, they have like a lot of government contracts and that sort of thing in play, and so long term they may have some good things about them that are coming along. However, in the short term, this is something that for me personally, and again, is what I would stay away from, and what we most commonly in the OTC world call as a bloated pig. And what I mean by that is because it's just completely filled with diluted stocks, and so there's just so many outstanding shares there in this stock that haven't been bought, that need to be bought up in order to get the stock moving with very little effort. And so again, what I mean by that is you're looking at this, you know, just summary of this particular stock. If you look here, it says shares outstanding, and see how it says 7.6 billion? That's how many shares that have still yet to have been bought up within the stock. So when a company dilutes its stock, it means that they're dumping shares into their particular stock for potential shareholders to buy up. And so they do that, you know, it's a form of debt, so it's convertible stock. And I don't want to get too technical and confuse you a little bit if you're not some kind of finance major or anything like that, because I'm trying to simplify this the best that I can. So basically what that means is that when a company is dumping, you know, outstanding shares into their own stock, this means that you have to buy up these shares in order to get the stock moved. And so when they do that, that means the value of your one single share goes down. And so that means that the piece of pie that you have within the stock is a much smaller piece of the pie every time they put more outstanding shares into the stock. Hope you're following me up to this point. It's a pretty simple concept that can sometimes be overcomplicated. Basically, all you need to know is that this company has dumped a buttload of shares into the stock so that you can buy it up, so that they can get more money to do the things that they want to do. So just a prime example here. I mean, look at this. Yes, this had a decent day today. It went up 25%, but look how much volume this thing had in order for it to get to move only 25%. And so this is the kind of stuff that I in particular stay away from when it comes to trading OTCs, only because I want something that's going to move easily and move fluidly with very little effort. And BVTK is one of those things that is just not it for me. It's not something that's going to move with ease. You know, once they get these convertible stocks out of the way, or convertible shares, sorry, out of the way, then maybe it's something that I would consider getting into. But right now, that's not it. And so this is something, for me personally, not saying that you have to, but for me personally, I would stay away from. Now, something that has a share structure that would be more attractive to me would be PHIL, and I can show you PHIL here. Now this is something that hasn't exactly had the best movement here as of late, but what I want to show you here is that this moved 12%. And yes, it went down in a downward trend here, and it's kind of been going downward trend, but that's not the point here. The point I'm making is that they have 41 million of shares outstanding. So their float is going to be very small. So when you're buying into this stock, your position is going to be much more valuable than what BVTKs would be, for the same money. And so this is what TD says is a heavy day. It was only 273,000 in volume, and so that is very small volume that moved this a considerable amount. And so, of course, this is something that you have to be careful of when it's going the other direction as far as the downtrend goes. But say this comes out with some kind of significant news, a merger, an acquisition, something along those lines, this thing will take next to nothing when it comes to getting this thing to skyrocket even to $1. It would probably, I almost would willing to bet that it probably wouldn't even take a million or 2 million in volume to see this go back up to maybe 50 cents. I mean, that's how small this float is. And so when you're doing your due diligence, as I've shown you before, if you go into OTC markets, and you're looking at a particular stock. So basically, I just went into this search box here and looked up BVTK for you guys already. And I went into filings and disclosures. Now, every company has to disclose this. If they don't, they get smacked with a stop sign or, a caveat emptor or whatever. And so if all their filings and disclosures will be in this profile here. Here's the 10Q that I clicked on. This 10Q basically gives a snapshot of the health of the company and that sort of thing. So I went ahead and already looked this up for you. And here's the balance sheet. If you're not good with accounting, I'm right there with you, but you at least have to know the basics here in order to understand how to read this. So here's your balance sheet. And if you go down here to the weighted average shares outstanding, and here it is. 7.2 billion shares that have yet to have been bought up. Guys, that is an amazing number. So much that you have to get through in order to get this stock to move. And comparatively, if you go to PHIL, I already pulled up the 10K that was recently released, so you can view the share structure. Again, this is a little bit condensed version of their balance sheet. And if you go into their weighted average numbers of shares outstanding, look how much different this is. 15 million shares outstanding or diluted. So this is such a stark contrast between what BVTK's share structure looks like compared to this. And so when I'm looking for a stock that I may want to get into, I'm looking for something with very little float and very little dilution going on, something that's going to move how I want to say it, something that's going to move with very little effort. And so something like PHIL is a prime example of something that's going to move with very little effort when significant news comes out or some kind of catalyst arrives that's going to drive the price per share of this up. And so something like BVTK might come out with significant news, but might move very little because it takes so much buying in order to get this thing going. So with that, I hope that I was able to try to make this as simple as possible. When it comes to dilution and shares outstanding and balance sheets and that sort of thing, I know that it can be a little bit confusing. So my whole effort here was just to try to make that a little bit more easier to understand. And I hope that I was able to accomplish that for you guys tonight. I do appreciate you watching tonight. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and post a link right up here in the top right hand corner. You can feel free to go ahead and click on that, and it will guide you in the right direction on how to get into contact with all of us within our Discord chat group. We have quite a network of individuals that trade OTCs that are pretty well versed, as well as plenty of beginners, and we're all here to help each other out. So I highly encourage you to join us in that. And on a daily basis, we'll talk about what's going on within the market. and it's just a great group of folks. So I appreciate you guys watching tonight. That's all I got for you for this evening, and B Smith is out.